Hey, what is up, guys? I am the champion. Do you want to learn advanced tips that will help you rank up as a mid laner? Today, I'll bring you along my Jushin gameplay in a mythic immortal game. Before any game starts, always look at the enemy team comp to predict what they'll do early game. There's an enemy Franco, so immediately help your jungler zone out the Franco so they can secure their blue buff. My Glue and Hanabi were smart enough to focus on killing Franco early, so we get a small lead within the first 30 seconds of the game. Next, after clearing your minion wave, you should be helping your jungler get the litho. Here, me and the Glue are once again zoning out the enemy so that our jungler can farm in peace. Use your heroes to their full advantage too. Glue and Jushin are strong in the early game, so we play aggressively and manage to kill the Franco once again. However, the Zedian flickered, but I'm not going to chase as in my position. I do not know where the Baxia and Arlott are, so the smart thing to do is to play it safe and continue farming. Especially in higher ranks, you've got to be very disciplined, as any early deaths can be heavily capitalized on by good higher elo players. We decided to fight a bit more to try and take down the enemy jungle. However, the Arlott comes and trades for both my jungler and my tank, which is not ideal, but it's all right. Just keep focusing on clearing your waves and getting the vital XP you need. After clearing your waves, you should be looking for ganking opportunities, however, always gank smart. In-game, I know Turtle is spawning bot side, same as my jungler's jungle path, so if I go bot lane, me, my tank, my jungler, and my EXP laner can hopefully catch the enemy EXP laner, and that is what happened. Always go back to your final wave of minions to get level 4 to impact the turtle fight. Thanks to our smart macro decisions, such as effective zoning, aggression, and ganking, we are able to force an advantageous 4v3 situation. A very important thing to note, see how I am constantly zoning out the enemy jungler, prioritize harassing, and at the best case, taking out the jungler, so your own jungler has a much easier time taking turtle. Our gold laner got ganked, so it falls on me to go top lane to clear minions, so the enemy Moskov does not get as much gold from attacking the turret. See how my ganking is always in sync with my jungler's pathing? We always end up in the same lane at the same time, so picking off the Moskov is so much easier. And do not take your marksman's minions. They need the gold. As a mid laner, your job is to help your teammates as much as possible. You are in the center of everything. You are the one dictating the tempo. So stop being selfish and start benefiting your whole team like what I've been doing so far the entire early game. The second turtle is respawning, so even before it comes up, I'm already looking for opportunities to pick off the respective enemy laner at the turtle side lane, aka the Moskov. Watch how, whenever I gank, I'm never alone, it is always with either my jungler or my tank. As a mid laner, never walk into an enemy bush alone. Let your tank check bush to give you vision first, like what my Glue is doing, so you don't get ambushed or caught off guard. As usual, always aim to kill the enemy jungler before clearing turtle to ensure your own jungler clears it as safe as possible. As you can see, all four of us were focusing all of our attention on Baxia. It doesn't matter if you kill their tank or their mid laner, as the enemy jungler can always have the possibility of getting a clutch turtle steal. Always have eyes around the map. As a mid laner, you, along with your roamer, need to be aware at all times. I see my Hanabi get a surprise ulti on the Moskov, so I immediately follow up and get a good assist. Always pick your spells in accordance to what the enemy team picks. Do not follow the loadouts blindly. Since the enemy team has a lot of CC heroes like Arlott and Franco, I can easily get picked off, so instead of the usual Jushin flicker, I chose Purify instead. Many people, especially those from a lower rank, like to rush Skypiercer on Juxin. But if you want to rank up, always choose practicality and discipline over ego. Always buy the way more optimal Clock of Destiny on her first to increase her survivability, especially if you know you are already going up against CC initiators like Franco. Look at how I tanked a Franco hook, tower damage, and even managed to evade the Zetian ultimate. All these abilities used by the enemies, and I am still alive. Notice how we are 6 minutes in, I have 1 kill, 0 deaths, and 11 assists already? I have participated in almost every single kill my team got. This is the impact you should be contributing as a mid laner. You are in the middle of the map, so you dictate how the game progresses. I have made life for my marksman, EXP laner, and jungler so much better, and that's what you are supposed to do as a mid laner. The last turtle is up. However, the enemy team managed to reach the turtle earlier, so they are able to control the surrounding area. I try my best to zone the tanks out, and my goated jungler manages to clutch a turtle steal. Knowing that the enemy Arlott is still coming back from spawn, we force the 5 versus 4 fight as soon as possible. Since we are in a good lead, I rush my Skypiercer to start getting stacks as soon as possible. We managed to take down everyone except the Moskov, and this really put us in a good position for our mid-game. The reason why Skypiercer is built on Juxin is because she has incredible survivability for a mage and has really good range. Getting stacks on her is both very doable and retaining it is really sustainable. I know my team is full of sustained damage dealers as there is Hanabi, YSS, and Yu Zhong, thus I build towards Brute Force Breastplate as our team doesn't need any more damage. Brute Force is so good on Juxin because each second after dealing damage, you get extra attack and movement speed for up to 6 stacks. At max stacks, you get extra control reduction. The stacks are so easy to proc with her second skill constantly dealing damage, and she gets a useful 800 extra HP and some defense and cooldown reduction too. Seeing the Arlott attacking minions on the mini-map, we were confident of entering a 4 versus 4 as we had all 3 turtles and a substantial gold lead. Thus we forced a fight and managed to take down the enemy jungler once again, especially near the time the Lord spawns. The Lord is almost going to spawn, thus I try to give vision for my jungler who is still low on HP and is currently taking blue buff. Unexpectedly, maybe because he was tilted, the Franco decided to flicker and ult into my tower, followed by the Zetian's ultimate and all 3 hits of her first skill hitting me, in addition to the Arlott diving in to try to kill me. However, despite everything that was thrown at me, I still managed to survive thanks to my really underrated sustainability and defense items. Now they have wasted all their spells, their ultimates, their skills, and especially the Franco's Winter Crown all on me, and the best part, they still could not kill me. My teammates managed to finish off the Franco, Arlott, and Zetian, thus putting us in a really favorable 5 versus 2 position when taking Lord. Since Lord was going top and I knew they would put all their resources into defending it, I asked my teammates to follow me bottom lane to push. As usual, get your tank to check the bushes first, like what my glue is doing to prevent any surprises. Oops, accidentally clicked on my ulti there, but hey, at least we are getting their towers. Our 2 fastest tower takers, Hanabi and Yisun Shin, stayed at mid to ensure the enemy team was focused on them, which allowed the rest of us to push 2 towers cleanly. By the time they were done rotating to bot, it was already too late. Using this pressure, we proceeded to focus our attention to downing the mid-lane tower, as the Moskov was clearing the Lord up top and the remaining enemy were clearing bot. I rotated to top lane as I realized the Moskov was missing and was worried he may split push our tower. Important tip: if you are ever alone, always use your lantern to check bushes. He may have been in there waiting to shred me down, and that would have turned the tides of the game. Luckily, he recalled back to base. If you are in the lead and have control of the map, always look for opportunities to take something from the opponent if possible, especially during the lull periods in between Lord respawns. For instance, we continued to pressure the enemy by contesting their red buff, after that taking their top tier 2 tower. Now they only have their inhibitors remaining. Good junglers always make use of their control of the map to steal as much jungle creeps from the enemy as possible to stifle their economy. As a Juxin in the mid-game, you should always look for opportunities to land a kill to start building your Skypiercer. I managed to kill this Franco as well as the Baxia earlier when we were pressuring top lane. As Lord is going to respawn, we continue sticking together as a group. We form a layer around our jungler so he can take red buff safely. The enemy team did well to clear our top lane minions, thus I had to go up to clear the minions to ensure we still had our tier 2 tower. This would leave my team short of one man at Lord, so smart macro move by the enemy. This is typically done with heroes like Moskov, as they can rotate to Lord very quickly, such as using his ultimate to teleport to team fights immediately as he did in this scenario, whereas no one in our team is as mobile or quick. However, due to the huge difference in our gold lead, they never stood a chance in a team fight now, and my team did well in the 4 vs 5, and I come in the last moment to kill off the Zedian to continue stacking my Skypiercer. However, the enemy team was very well coordinated. They are a squad, after all. They sent Moskov to clear the bot minion wave while the 4 remaining teammates settled the Lord. This is a common strategy in base defenses. From the minimap, we saw Moskov trying to split push-down bot, thus our team prepared to tower dive in a 5 vs 4 as their main damage dealer is away. We got a good result of one of their inhibitors being down. Notice how instead of me fishing for more kills, I focus my effort on objectives by downing the mid-inhibitor tower. Always remember, this game is won by objectives. It doesn't matter how many kills you rack up. I focused on turtle takes, lord takes, defended my bases from being split push and lasered in on damaging and destroying towers. The Moskov was effectively split-pushing, so I signaled for my EXP and gold laner to recall back to base to defend. However, my roam accidentally overextended. One tip to be a great roamer is to always ensure you have sufficient teammates and damage supporting you before you ever consider performing a set. My Hanabi YSS and Yu Zhong were not nearby, thus it was a bad idea to go in. About half a minute later, my EXP laner and jungler decided to 2 vs 1 the enemy R-Lot, which on paper seems like a good fight to take. However, the thing about immortal lobbies is that mechanically everyone should definitely have a certain baseline of skill, and it is very well played of the R-Lot to win that 1 vs 2 fight along with that good ulti from the Zedian. Now that we are in a 3 vs 5 situation, with minions coming down on all 3 of our lanes, we decided to go 1 lane each to defend out towers. However, I saw from the map that Hanabi got caught, and there were many enemies mid, so me and the glue hurried over. Notice how I body blocked and tanked the Moskov shots from my Hanabi? As a mid laner, especially a Zhuxin, these are the types of selfless plays you need to be making to protect your damage dealers, especially your marksmen in the late game, as they will be by far the most important role. See how the tides have turned from just a single small moment of outplay. This shows that any match is winnable, or that any lead is always losable, big or small. This is also why, even when I'm losing really badly, I never ever surrender. I have came back from deficits of more than 30 before. It's all a matter of resilience, perseverance, and most importantly, the hunger to win, no matter the odds. Players with this mindset of never giving up, I've noticed, tend to be better overall than their counterparts, both in-game as well as outside in real life as a whole. The enemy has taken Lord, so we ambushed their Franco as early as possible. This forces the enemy team to enter a fight they don't want to participate in this early. I stayed behind to protect my jungler and MM from the R-Lot and Moskov ult. Since it's late game, me and Yu Zhong focused our entire dive onto Moskov, where I even used my ultimate to guarantee the kill. ISS and Hanabi cleared Lord while me and the glue distracted the remaining 3 alive. Yet again, I helped my jungler to zone out the enemy team from stealing his blue buff, as well as provide vision so he can take his creep safely without worry. Notice how glue is always checking the bushes for us. This is especially important in the late game, as the death respawn timer is greatly increased. This is another tip on how to be a great roamer. Notice how we are always sticking together. The enemy team has a Franco, so if you get caught alone, you will surely die without getting any worthwhile trade. Thus, by being together, we managed to take down their tank and mid laner. However, at the cost of our Hanabi, who got ambushed by the R-Lot from behind. The R-Lot was really smart in preventing me from recalling back to base. Seeing my teammates still fighting, I hurried my ass over behind to recall as soon as possible. In ML, especially in solo queue, You have to prioritize objectives first, as only objectives and downing the towers, and finally the base will win you the game, not kills, not team fights. My willingness to recall and do the dirty work for my team has led to them being able to outnumber our enemies at their own base and kill off their jungler, thus making our current lord take really easy. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices for your team that don't appear on the stats sheet, but those are the important decisions that you have to make that dictates if your team wins or loses. The best players always puts the outcome of the team above how good their numbers look. A win is a win. Shout out my Hanabi for respawning just in time to help me kill the Moskov. With the Lord marching down, the enemy Franco and Baxia did the smart move of baiting it towards their last remaining inhibitor tower. However, without their main damage dealer, they were never going to win this final Lord push. And that's all, folks. Hope you've learned many useful tips and tricks on how to be the best mid laner you can possibly be. Please like, share, and follow. It means a lot. Thank you and happy ML Ling.